Hey guys, Mas here. Hope you are doing well. Welcome on January the 31st, I believe. Yes, January the 31st. Crazy days. We'll go ahead and get started. Go ahead and get comfortable, get situated. Just give me 1 second. Alrighty. I just want to make sure everything's going good. Sound and everything going good. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Again, name is Mas Sajady. Welcome. We've got a really fantastic content for you this time around, and the first half. And it's just a little slow for me in the beginning because I have to analyze the whole group. So just give me it takes me about a second or two, and then also trying to figure out the sound as well. So if you guys can tell me about this, sounds good. Oh, fantastic as well. All right, we're ready to go. Again, my name is Mas Sajady, and well, I've honed fantastic abilities to help you transform your life the fastest way possible. Okay? And it's very different than psychology, motivation, or anything like that. I can analyze your blueprint or the way your life works. You don't have to tell me anything about you. In fact, you don't even have to tell me your real name. The science behind it is on the lecture series that I do, or on the podcast on how I work or how my abilities work. By the way, I teach people on how to have fantastic abilities like me without having the two near-death experiences that I had. So I had two near-death experiences to really allow me to open up to the possibilities of what human is. And today we're going to be talking about human consciousness and what it's really about. Because there's a lot of information on human consciousness, and they're good, but it doesn't give you the science, the logistics on how to, one, access it, two. When I see all those other explanations, it's always from like you're inside the house and you're looking outside, but you can never go outside and play with it. Okay, so what I talk about, the deep science, is like, well, yeah, I see what's out there, but what are the logistics to get you out there and play around? So on the talk today, later on today, I'm going to be talking about, well, what consciousness is, giving you a solid definition of what consciousness is, and then on top of that, how do you go out and play with it? How do you go out to higher levels of consciousness where it gets really, really fun? I mean, fantastic stuff that you can do up there that even the latest technology doesn't even get you there. And it's, well, mind-blowing or orgasmic. So I'll be talking about that. But first is Mas analysis. Later on, coming up soon, what we're going to do is we're going to switch it over. We're going to do the talk first, the deep science, and then I analyze. So on the analysis again, and also one more thing. In the near future, I'll have a live call. Okay, once a month we'll have a live call where we can interact with another, and then that way, for those people who say know that there's something out there, that gives you, say, a stronghold on how to connect to that thing, what's out there, what the knowledge is out there. For those who don't believe or who are scientist types and all that stuff, which is fantastic, that it gives you an opportunity to, say, expand your consciousness or expand your logic. That is like, how the hell does this guy analyze this individual so accurately? right, without even knowing anything about it. So again, it opens up those realities or possibilities, which is really cool. By the way, it's not intuition, or I don't channel anything. It's not really intuition. It goes way beyond that. It's not clairvoyance, clairaudio, and all those things that are out there. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. And again, I'll just read you. One last thing before we move forward. Where'd it go? I have to read this. Lawyers here. So this is Mas Sajady with Exponential Intelligence, Sunday, January 31st, 2021. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't just diagnose or heal. I can scan your frequency signature and tell you what I see. Okay, so I could be all off. Who the hell knows? But please consult your doctor for professional advice. Also, I'm not a financial analyst or anything like that. So if you ask me about the market and all that stuff, I'll tell you what I see. Although my predictions have been about, say, 99% accurate. If you ask to be scanned today, you are agreeing that we may use your session on any public media to help inspire others. And then it also, again, like I said, it also allows other people to not necessarily believe, but become aware of what's there. Your belief system at a logic level, it doesn't matter, by the way. So public media to inspire others. So remember, if you don't want us to share your session, then don't ask to be scanned. It's pretty basic. All contents are protected by copyright. You may not use our content in any way, shape, or form for any purpose without my written permission. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get started. And again, we'll go into the deep science on consciousness, what it is, how to access it for to benefit not only you but humanity. Let's just see here. Just give me a second. This one is by Abby. Hi, Mas. Please. Can you scan me and what is causing my health issues? Thank you for everything. Sure. So for you, Abby, again, not a doctor. Just want to emphasize that. Just tapping into you, Abby. Okay. So again, I could be wrong, but from what I'm analyzing is that when you were younger, or your father was exposed to some kind of heavy metals or some kind of inhalant that had heavy metals or chemicals in it. So again, it's either your father says the genetic makeup a little messed up, or you. So I can't quite tell because you and your father are interlinked together from what I'm seeing, or your father needs help. So one of the two, but either way, it's of, say, heavy metals from what I'm seeing, or heavy toxins in your system that need to get flushed out. So there's total human reset will really help you. By the way, it's starting February 3rd, I believe. There's an initiation call before that, but that would really help you through the process of autophagy, what we use, because you need something to start to eat away whatever's again, the toxins. There's also cleanses out there that you can help. I would do kind of a blood cleanse, again, because it's affected, the toxins are affected. I think whatever that you've done with me, though, there's a layer of separation. So that's what you're feeling, by the way. And, oh, that's your father. Again, your father, a heavy, let's just say a heavy persuasion, okay, for lack of a better word, or influence upon you, even your identity of who you are, your muscular skeletal system, that kind of deal, kind of taking on your father. So whatever that you've done with me, Abby, it's like, there's a layer of you, and then there's a layer of your father and all this stuff, your disease, health issues and all that. So now there's a sense of separation, so you can kind of decipher, what's really you, what you really want to keep, and then what you don't. So in this mini session, what I helped you do is like pull even more distance, so create more distance. It's all about proximity. It's about you it's your real identity coming out, and then your other stuff. It's like, hey, you know what, this disease, I don't want it anymore, or the way you get pushed over or written over, or people don't hear your people don't hear your suggestions, although they're very good suggestions. It's like, I'm tired of that. Right? It's like, why is that happening? And the cool thing about it, Abby, is that you're not blaming others. It's like, what is it in me? What is it in me that's allowing people to, do that to me? Which is really key, because most people go, shit, I don't like that person. Why are they doing that to me? And then I think that was you in the past, by the way. So, but again, many of you would blame others. It's like, I always attract bad relationships, and you go after, relationship after relationship after relationship, but you don't change yourself. We'll be talking about that in February, by the way. So for you, Abby, again, creating more separation, more distance, and with that, I would suggest a longer session though. But with that, what's going to happen for you is that, what's going to happen for you is that as you separate, and you notice that that stuff's not you, you're not giving that stuff energy, so it starts to die off, including your health issues. And then you start to come up with better solutions, better solutions to, say, resolve your life issues. So really nice job. Welcome to the XI Club. You're almost there. This is Teal. Hi, Mas, could you please scan me? I feel that everything that I work on does not work. I would be very thankful. So yeah, Teal Tassa. So for you, it's just that you get to a point, and what's happened is that you've been. It's kind of sad. You're this person that's like, hey, let's go adventure. Let's go try this and this, and then, probably your parents, go, no, don't do that. You can't do that. Or if you're having fun, it's like something always squelches you. So that's become a pattern. And it's not really your pattern. It's just the family value structure, that you can't have too much fun. You can't have too much fun, because then you're a bad person. Or basically the family pattern is you have to suffer to look good in the eyes of God. So again, a religious type pattern or a good person pattern. Again, you have to burden yourself or help save things or people, whatever it is, to make you feel good. And then again, it never feels good. So what you've added on is that no matter what you do, you're going to get squelched on that pattern. So patterns are, or like DNA, for example, your skin color, your eye color, your hair color, whatever it is, it just progresses down the line, right? With every generation. So for you, see, Teal, let's just help you start to stand up as well. I kind of see you as a fighter. It's like, hey, that's not right, and then you'll fight for your right. Kind of like an underdog, an underdog. And all an underdog is basically a victim that just gets beat up. So they stand up, they get beat up. They stand up, they get beat up. That's the only difference between a victim and an underdog. They have that will to get beat up more than once. Simple as that. So let's get rid of that as well. Just give me a second. And by the way, if I'm working on, say, Teal here, those people who run the same patterns, I'll be working on you as well. So don't just go, oh, he's not going to pick me, and then it's like, just wait, or wait. Just stay in the meditative space, or just stay quietly in your space. Okay, don't be checking your texts and stuff like that. But again, stay within your space, and you'll feel the frequencies that I generate for you. So this one is Katia. Would love a scan, thank you. Sure. So again, you seem kind of new, or whatever you've done with me as of late has like massively, say, taken the wrappings off your life, and it's like, whoa, I knew that there was something out there, but now I can actually, say, grab onto it. So you're really excited about that. You just don't know where to go or where to start, and then also you're just wondering how long as it's going to last for you. So that's another thing for you. It's like, well, how long is this going to last? It's too good to be true. I think in the past, you got to a certain point and it's like, wow, I can relax. And then as soon as you relaxed, it's like, shit, like all hell goes to, what is it? Everything goes to, goes to pieces. So you've gotten used to, it's like you get to a certain point, things are good. It's like, shit, when's the next, shoe going to drop? And then you just wait for that. So, yeah. So take a deep breath in, all of you who run those patterns, and even those who don't. Let's help you release or understand why that pattern happened. So you have a good mechanism on knowing what's out there and also creating it at a certain level. But let's, again, in this mini session, let's take that veil off, okay? Take the veil off. And there's also, if you think of your life as being on a leash, okay? Gotcha. So if you think of your life as being on a leash, you can only go so far, and then you get snapped back. And then what you do is like, shit, there's nowhere else to go. The leash is here. It's like, I'll just go back to the beginning. And then you start over again. It's like, whoa, you get excited, relationships, business, whatever it might be, identifying who you are, or as adventure. It's like, whoa, and then you lean, you start trekking out again. It's like, boom, you hit that leash, and it's like, shit, nowhere to go. I'll create something that brings me back to number one, because then I have something to do. So let's just break that leash for you right now. And for those who feel like they're on a leash or can only reach so far, or the glass, the ceiling, you hit the ceiling and then, you drop back down. So take a deep breath in. All of you. We'll just work on all of you here. So let's help you define that leash. How, you don't have to know how or why it's created. You can figure that out later for those who need to figure that out later. You don't need to figure it out later to move on, by the way. And then, so what'll happen for you, and again, I suggest a deeper session, not to break the leash, because that'll be broken for you. That'll be broken for you in 1, 2, 3, like 3-4 days. So the way you'll experience it, and again, it's very key, guys, this is confirming your deletions, is like, I can help you reprogram yourself, I can help you create different opportunities, but when those opportunities come to you, you'd have to confirm your deletions. So what that means is like, that if something abusive is coming to you and you see that it's coming to you straight away, it's like, shit, this person is going to abuse me, and straight away, that's the key. This time straight away. You don't have to wait like 6 months, right? Then don't do it. Don't get connected to that person right away, and it confirms your deletion, and then another person, say in that example, will come forward for you that won't abuse you. So simple as that. So for you, Katja, is like, you'll get to that point, and then it'll start to unravel. The leash will start to unravel, and then you have to make a decision. It's like, well, do I go backwards because that's what I'm comfortable with, or do I perpetuate success even more? Because the unknown for many, this is the fear of success, the unknown for many is scarier than going back and getting your old life. So again, that's the breakthrough that you might need more help on. But once you break through, that's where your abilities and so on can escalate really, really well. This one was Kazim. Hi, Mas, could you scan me, please? Thanks. You're always in your head. Again, always in your head. Not just a little, but always. And then, there's a pattern of worry because, if you're always in your head, you have to do something with your time. I mean, think of it. When people are in their head, they have to think of something. Otherwise, they get bored, right? And they'll have to do something. So, which creates a lot of problems, because if you don't know what to think about, then you go inward and then you start picking on yourself, right? Just the way your mom did. Your mom would just like pick on every little thing, not just you, but the whole household. Everything could be, say, perfect from what I'm seeing. And again, guys, if I read you, by the way, Not for my benefit because I know I'm accurate, but for everybody else on the live chat, just just chat back and go, yeah, that was perfect, or it wasn't, whichever way. But back to cause M here. So over time, you've kind of gotten withdrawn, and then even if there isn't a problem, it'll create a problem because that's what you're more, say, comfortable with, right? And you're a great problem solver, but then you define yourself by solving problems. So if there's no problems in your life, or things are better for you, you can't define yourself in space-time. You literally lose track of your identity. So again, drama follows you, and that's why drama follows you, by the way. So take a deep breath in, buddy. Let's delete that for you, or I can't delete it for you because your identity is based on it. So what I can do for you is create, again, distance, right? So there's less proximity between you and, say, the patterns that you run, not your problems, because it's not your problems that are affecting you. Again, you're a great problem solver, but the desire for you to, say, have problems at a deeper level to identify who you are. Okay, so I know that sounds crazy, but again, people who run this pattern, and there's quite a few of you, if everything was going good, you'd feel hopeless, or you'd feel like you're not worthy of anything. So that's where that pattern comes from. It's not a problem. You just want solutions. On the flip side, though, which is really cool, with exponential intelligence, XI, you can switch that around where it's like, you don't need problems to expand and grow. You can, and by the way, guys, as I speak, I'm working on you as well. Again, take a deep breath in. You don't need problems to expand and grow. Right? You don't need to fix things to expand and grow, or to keep you, say, to have an identity. You could expand and grow and stay in space and time, stay connected with yourself, which is really fantastic, right? If you paid attention on what you could expand and grow into. So instead of getting, and this is the same kind of pattern where people don't know what to do with their lives, so they create illnesses in their life, and then it gives them something to do, or an excuse not to go forward. I kind of see that in your family, or maybe a sister, or maybe your wife. I don't know, one of those two, cousin. That's what they do, right? They create a health issue, and then it's like, well, I'm sick, so I can't really expand out there. But anyway, so those types of individuals, again, with XI, you can turn that negative into a positive by going, well, so a new problem arises for you. Okay, it's still a problem, but a good problem. It's like, well, I'm here, point A, I want to be point B, and you're not trying to heal yourself, because basically what you all do, people who run these patterns, is like, point A, point B is going to fix my problem, and then once you're fixed, it's like, shit, I need to go back to point A, create another problem, and go to point B. Does that make sense? So you want to go to from point A to point B, fix your problems, and then you go, well, hey, I want to go to point C, which is a better version of myself. So you go forward, let's say, rather than recycle problems. Okay? Take a deep breath in, and then also you'll find that you'll drop into your body more. Yeah. And I think even now, cousin, you're actually feeling your body. It's like, shit, I'm alive. So fantastic job, buddy. Let's see. This one is Gloria. Hi, Moss, can you scan me? I liked all the hearts and stuff. So yeah, so Gloria, you hold on to burdens of a lot of people. I don't know if somebody had a heart attack around you or heart issues. I don't know if it's you. It doesn't feel like you, but you hold on to this pattern long enough, you'll probably have heart issues and so on. So heart issues or heartache, physical heart issues, or again emotional heart issues or burdens. Let's just say just in the chest area, really heavy. There is some death around you. So whoever that is, it's kind of a masculine feel for you. Could be, say, your father, your grandfather, that kind of feel. So they might have crossed over, or they're ready to cross over, something to that effect, or they're ill with heart issues, and that kind of feel. But that's coming on to you. Okay, and then we call that hereditary. It's not necessarily hereditary, but they're frequencies. I talked about this on the science of death. There's going to be part 2, by the way, on the science of death. So if you purchase part 1, you'll get part 2 for free. So we'll just do that. So my team, guys, if you're listening to that, we'll do part 2, and again, part 2 would be free to you, all who purchased part 1. But anyway, so the science of death, basically, as they disconnect, that consciousness leaves, or they leave that consciousness, somebody else has to, say, take care of that, and that would be you. So let's help you remove that pattern, and then also that person who is dead, close to death, either way. So, and it could be somebody from, got it. So you picked up your pattern, Gloria, is like when you were born, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of age, when you were born, your mother heavy with guilt with somebody dying. And you look at your mother and you go, I guess that's the way humans do it in this reality, or in this consciousness. So you can get used to the term as we talk about that in about 4 minutes. And then what happens is you start creating that. Yeah, you start creating that. And it's I guess I need to burden myself as well. And then you allow people with their burdens, or especially people who are ill or dying, connect with you time and time again, from what I'm seeing. So I helped you stop that. Okay. This one is from Selma. Hi, Mas. I need a scan. I'm interested in healing scoliosis and a lot of different kinds of back pain. Can you please help and guide into taking steps towards it? Yes. So it's interesting. Again, not a doctor. It's Selma. Sorry about that. So Selma. So for you, again, I take a look at autoimmune disease, scoliosis, and many other diseases. Again, I'm not a doctor, but again, I see the underlying reason why people have those issues. So working in conjunction, or complement to doctors really works out well. In fact, there's several doctors that come to me if they can't figure out their patients, or even psychologists, they can't figure out their patients' issues, they would come to me. Or also, if you've tried a ton of stuff out there and it's I'm their last hope, they would come to me. So for those non-believer types. But anyway, for you, Selma, what's happening is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 or 4. There's 3 or 4 deaths around you, and it's not, say, normal death. It's abortions, loss of a child, that kind of feel. It doesn't matter what, but your family holds on to. There's always death or grief around babies, or loss of babies. So for some reason, again, we don't have time to get into why, although I could help you. But let's just focus on this. Let's help release. So that consciousness, or a loss of consciousness, whether it's whether you lost some kids, which I think you did. I think you lost 1 or 2, maybe, from what I've seen. But then your mother and sisters or aunts or whoever. Again, there's a pattern of losing kids in the family. Okay. Anyway, when that happens, and that identity, or if you want to call it your spirit, I would call it that consciousness that creates that child, still holds on to to this consciousness. Well, if it still holds on, again, the science of death, if it still holds on to this consciousness, somebody living has to feed that, and that would be, say, you. So you house identities in you, and that's why your midsection, for example, really doesn't feel like you. It feels kind of death for you, or like sex and all that, that deeper connection that you want to have. It's not going to be there. Again, it's a pattern of death, and this is where a lot of women start to have, issues down there with their feminine parts, their ovaries and so on like that, when they run these patterns. So anyway, let's help you release that pattern, and then we'll get into the deep science. Mas Sajady is the deep science on consciousness and what that is. So let's take a deep breath in. Well, let's take that deep breath in. And for you, Selma, just really helping you, say, shed away. So if you so the deeper level, what you would feel, what you would experience is that, you're never alone. You're always like thinking that there's somebody with you. You can't make up your own mind. Or your mind, you can't make up your mind, or you have 3 or 4 possible thoughts on that, again, because there's other identities in you. So imagine that, when I see you, your left side, when I see your spine, and again, I've never seen you physically, but when I see you, your spine goes like that. So on your, and you'd be watching me. So on your, on your left side, there's like these identities, again, loss of babies, basically, that's housed in you. Right? So this is, again, and I know that might sound far out, but for you, some of you would experience people that always need you, and they get really close to you. So close that it becomes like toxic for you, right? No matter who it is. Again, your mom, your sister, your partner, your friend, the guy that serves you, the guy that serves you coffee, whatever. You get to know them, and then all their shit just comes and latches on to that left side. So anyway, let's remove all that stuff for you. And with people that I've worked on with scoliosis, again, not a doctor, they start to align themselves, not only physically, but emotionally and so on. Like they become more congruent or more one. So, all right, let's take a deep breath in, guys. We'll get into the deep science. The deep science on consciousness explained. And again, throughout centuries, scientists, the sages, have tried to explain consciousness and what it is, what it's about, and even the latest from the most brilliant minds out there on consciousness, they didn't quite get it as accurate as I see it. And again, I'm not saying they're wrong, I'm right, but it's just an extension of truth. Okay, and again, I'll talk about that as we go in. And actually, I'm going to have another talk on consciousness and how it affects truth. Okay, so that's something else. But again, so look out for that. It'll probably be a lecture series because it's very in depth. So it'll be called Consciousness and How It Affects Truth. Or truth and how consciousness affects it. Either way, because I just want to talk about that because truth, there's always truth in something. It just depends on the layers of consciousness that you exist in. That's all. That makes it true. But there's always real truth coming up. Okay, so in this series. Or in this 15 minutes, half an hour, I'll explain consciousness through a near-death perspective, how to harness the power of consciousness to achieve, your highest version of who you are, or experience, that human potential that we all are, and then more importantly, we'll go into a deep dive. And some people say that, it's not just a deep dive meditation. It's not your normal meditation or anything like that. It's very, very different. And I'll just explain what the deep dive meditations are, or the 18 days that we do. In this month, you have the choice of the 18 days or the total human reset, where we reset you completely in 18 days. And you go, shit, that's pretty fast. It is pretty fast. It's very intense for you. So if you're new to me, I'd highly recommend the essential course, not the accelerated. I don't care how successful you are or you've done other programs. If you're new to me, we make more money if you're in the accelerated. But again, if you're new to me, it's so intense that it won't be beneficial for you, because you break down too rapidly. Okay, and it sounds really cool, but again, if you break down too rapidly, it's not as effective for you on life, and it's just harder. So I would take the essential just to get you, say, used to the frequencies, because you do change radically within the 18 days. And this is our 4th human reset. And some of the testimonials, guys, unbelievable. Again, DNA altering, as they call it, where people age younger. They get rid of their diseases, and they come into the shape and keep it. Relationship. This one, we're going to be talking about wealth, spherical wealth. Okay, so back to consciousness. Oh, back to the meditation. So the 18 days, or what we're doing here, it's not a normal meditation. It's very different than meditation, because most meditations, they allow you to escape out of your body. Right? Basically, what I do is I force your consciousness, again, your essence, or your consciousness, or your logic, your spirit, if you want to call it your spirit. I call it your pure presence, to come into your body. Okay? As you come into your body, you become very present. So much like nature, you don't get lost in nature, although you might think you do. Nature, you go into raw nature, not a park or anything, but raw nature, and there's this thing that consumes you. You're always aware of it, if that makes sense to you. So you might wonder, what is that? Is it the fresh air, or I'm just feeling different? No. Nature is so present in time. Okay? And this is another lecture that I've talked about. But nature forces you to become so present in time that it forces you to see the grander version of who you are compared to who you're not. So that's the key. I've got my dog barking, so sorry about that, guys. So let me explain consciousness through the near-death experience on that. So consciousness, most people think that, and scientists think, is that, when you, for example, when you die, your consciousness disappears. It's not like that. It's like he's unconscious, and then, you bring that person back to life, and it's like, oh, he's conscious. No, that's not like that either. Or any variety out there. So whatever you've heard, I'll just give you the real reason, because there's so many different definitions of consciousness. And again, so let's clarify it. Okay. So consciousness is literally a global setting that you exist in. Okay. And if you exist in that global setting, okay, and I'll give you an analogy, but I'll give you the science first. If you exist in that global setting, okay, you become that global setting. That makes sense to you, okay? So just remember that, and even if you don't, it's okay. I'll still be working on you to help you understand it at a deeper level, because you already know this stuff, okay? You would have to, because if you didn't, you would never exist in here. You couldn't create or render yourself here, okay? Again, there's a lot of quantum, say, mechanics behind this. Behind XI, and there's about a lot of space and time. So again, if you're new, it might sound really deep, but it doesn't really matter, because again, the frequencies that I generate for you, and we'll go deeper into it in the deep dive meditations, you get to experience it from a different point of view rather than logic. So the consciousness, again, is that if you walk into a consciousness, you become that consciousness. Okay, or you utilize whatever tools, whatever things that are in that consciousness to render or create your life. Okay, and there's layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of consciousness. Okay, so it's a global setting. So think of think of a light that's shining outside this sphere or a ball, okay? And then there's a ball within a ball, and then a ball within that, and then a ball within that, and then a ball within that. So there's probably millions of different layers, okay, or different filters. So you have this light, the sun, it shines through that original ball, okay? That the original ball that hits that white light, okay, is red. So now every ball within that has a hue of red. Okay? So the next color is blue. Okay, so this light shines through the red ball, the blue ball, and then red and blue. What is that, like purple or brown, whatever it might be. So again, it's tainted. Okay, so you have the red ball, you have the blue ball, you have a yellow ball. Okay, or a yellow filter. Okay? A yellow filter, and then, well, now whatever color red, blue, and yellow create, that's the consciousness that the next ball down the line exists in. So do you see how every layer affects the inner layer? Okay, so imagine that there's millions of different layers for you, and there are, okay, from what I've seen, generation after generation. And you go, well, how does that apply to my life? Well, it's easy. Look at your life. When I see you, or when I see most people, and I've worked on 100,000 people, or sessions, one-on-one sessions, guys, nobody can say that, because well, they wouldn't just have the time, right, to do that physically. But because my sessions aren't time based, they're frequency based. So see, let's take a deep breath in. So how does that apply to your life? Okay, so 95%, again, of the people that I've studied, which is quite a few, 95% of what you think you are, you've adopted or inherited from your mom and dad. Okay, say for example, and this is you can look it up in Google, on say PTSD, on PTSD symptoms for people who had like war experiences, and generations down. So for example, 5 generations down, somebody was in war, and again, there's been tons of studies on this. 5 generations past, up, somebody was in war, and they had PTSD. Okay, so their hereditary, their DNA structure changed because of that. They had kids, and even if they didn't, say they were older and they had older kids already, well, DNA is alive. Okay? It's always changing. It's very dynamic. It's not solid. Okay? It adapts to its environment. It's called the process of evolution, by the way. Okay, so which is another topic. There's so many topics that we could get into, but I want to keep focused. So those individuals, again, PTSD, it runs either through, you have a child after the PTSD, or, your children, already born children, adapt to you, adapt and look at you. So this is nature and nurture. It's both. It's not one or the other. So and then they go, shit, mom or dad have PTSD patterns, just like they have heart issues. It's like, well, I guess I'll adopt that because we weren't awake. So, and then you adopt those patterns, and then generation after generation after generation. Again, do you see the filters? The blue, the blue ball, the red ball, the blue ball, the yellow ball, the green ball, whatever. Generations down, those people, 5 generations down, they have PTSD symptoms, and they have not been anywhere near war. So why did that happen? It's because of the filters. So 95% of your identity of who you think you are is literally all these filters, or consciousness, right? It's a consciousness. So a consciousness is literally a global setting on how you see your life, okay? And we're just going to take one layer of consciousness, not several layers, Okay? Another example, and I'm a computer guy by trade. I used to do web programming and SQL programming. So again, a lot of computer examples. So let's take a deep breath in. Just looking on time. So taking a deep breath in, and again, noticing your spine, and then I'll help you peel away, say, as I speak, the layers. And again, you don't have to watch me on video or anything. You can just close your eyes and just relax into your groin area. There we go. Yeah, I'll help you, say, peel away the identities that create you. Okay? As I speak. How's that sound? Yeah, I can do that. There we go. So again, notice your spine. And then that's all I'm going to say. And then I'll tell you what I'm seeing or analyzing of the group for most of you. Okay? That sounds fair. That way, some of you, again, new people or non-believers, which is okay, which is really good, by the way. It's like, well, he suggested that. It was suggestion, or it's mind play, or it's hypnosis. No. So just notice your spine, and then I'll tell you afterwards what you're experiencing. All right? So take a deep breath in, because I'm creating that experience for you, by the way. Simple as that. Okay? So take a deep breath in. So a computer example. You have an Android, like an Android phone, an Apple phone, a Windows phone, or a computer, whatever it might be. So you have a phone, right? And you want to create an app. And the app that you want to create is success. Okay? You want to create a success app on making money, or loving relationships, or whatever it might be that you want in the world that you live in. Okay? But your global setting, your consciousness that you exist in is, say, an Android phone. Well, that app has to accommodate what the Android, say, system requirements are for that app to run. Okay? Does that make sense to you, right? And then your phone, I don't know, your app, your map app, or, I don't know, Instagram app, or WhatsApp and Facebook. By the way, I'm deleting those because of the privacy policies, crazy stuff. Anyway, so it has to be, that app is dictated by the environment, the global setting, that filter, right? That balloon. If that makes sense to you, right? And I'll give you another analogy as well. So whatever you create in that app, say success, okay? The result of that app is filtered through the global setting. So say that global setting or the application dictates that whatever you do has to create, say, lack or insecurity or sacrifice. Okay? And that's not too far from, say, the consciousness that we exist in. For those individuals who get it, I think a light bulb clicked on. It's like, shit. That's why no matter what I do, no matter how much money I make, it's like it's always sacrifice or abuse or whatever. Does that make sense to you? So in this consciousness, and I'll talk about that, but in this example, the Android or Windows or whatever, global setting or, system setting dictates that you have to run, the program of, again, sacrifice, lack, or control. Sacrifice, and there's others. But anyway, those three main ingredients to run your app. Okay. So you create a success app. You make a gazillion dollars. Well, in order for you to run that success app, you would have to run control, sacrifice, and lack. So just in that scenario, no matter how much money you make, you can't not experience. By the way, the more money, say, you make, or the more, say, the more you reach your goal, the closer you reach to your goal, in this case a gazillion dollars, or that optimal relationship, you would have to feel more lack, more control, or again, sacrifice. If you don't believe me, look at the great success stories. They've always lacked. Even like, say, Tesla, right? He gave up his abilities, mental abilities for, again, creation or invention. Look at all the people nowadays, that make $1 gazillion. They're fucked up. Look at those people who stay away and go, well, I'm just going to be religious. They're fucked up. Again, why don't those things work? Why not, the black movement? Why not the equality movement? Why not the Me Too movement? Why don't they work? They've got a lot of good content, a lot of good stuff, but it doesn't work because whatever solution that you provide in the consciousness that you're in or in the global setting dictates that it has to run with the background patterns. So does that make sense to you? So let's take a deep breath in. I'll give you another analogy as I work on you. Again, just notice your spine, notice your midsection as most people are coming up. Again, at first, your lower half, the groin area, and then it just feels like it's like warming up almost, and most of you are in your solar plex, your midsection there. So there's some other aspects that I want to talk about as well. So, okay, so you're in this room, okay? You're in this Lego room, okay? And you can create anything that you need to in this room, in this Lego room. But all the Legos are yellow, okay? And you can create anything that you want. You can create a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, a beautiful spouse, a ton of money, but whatever you create, again, is created of the same material, yellow. In this case, Legos. So, and then what happens is that, well, shit, it's like, I don't like yellow. I'm going to paint it blue. And then what happens is, well, the blue chips off, and then you still have yellow. Or, you paint it blue, but then on the inside, it's like, shit, I know that thing deep inside is yellow. That makes sense? It's made of yellow. And you might not like yellow, or in this scenario, you don't like yellow. Okay? You want to change to blue or red or whatever it might be. But the key is it's yellow and you want to change. But no matter what you make, more money, again, health, whatever it is, it's yellow. If you look at the problems today, no matter what has been created, okay, helping people, donating people, philanthropy, whatever it is, any problem that you've tried to, say, solve, always comes back with an after effect of the consciousness that exists. Again, lack, sacrifice, control. Simple as that. Okay? So let's take a deep breath in. So what does that have to do with humans? Well, just like that global setting, or the global, say, the app, the system that runs this, the operating software that runs, this Android or Windows or anything like that. You step into this consciousness, okay? As you step into this consciousness, okay, the global setting in this consciousness dictates how humans represent themselves. Get that? So there's a setting, a global setting, on how humans represent themselves. So if you want to be human in this consciousness, you would have to create an app or an identity or a lifestyle, if you want to exist in this consciousness, that are say, dictated by what human is defined as. Again, humans are defined as they age, they get diseased, there are always problems in life. No matter what you do, you'll never feel complete. No matter how much money and all that, I talked about that, again, will carry the burdens of lack, sacrifice or control. So in this consciousness, no matter what you do, you plug in. So so there's a consciousness, okay? There's a room that has, well, it's called Earth. There's a room that's called Earth, a reality that's called Earth. And then you're a high-level being. Okay, it's like, hey, I want to live in this Earth space. It's like, hey, okay. As soon as you come into the atmosphere, Okay? And again, your DNA adapts to the atmosphere, your environment around you, the consciousness that's around you. Okay? That consciousness creates life. Okay? It creates an existence. It doesn't create life, I'm sorry. Your essence creates life. Okay? Your spirit creates life. Your pure presence creates life. When you step into this room, you get plugged in. And as you get plugged in, you conform to the consciousness or the reality. Hence, the life that you have. Okay? So consciousness is not something, say, physical. It's before physical. It's what creates you as a physical being. Okay? If you're in this reality as human, you plug into it and you create or render your body in this form. And then it ages the way this consciousness. So what you want to do is like, yeah, I want to live in this reality, but I want, say, an existence of another consciousness, say the level higher than that, okay, or higher than that, or higher than that. So, and that creates, say, less and less and less filters. So let's take a deep breath in. So again, consciousness is a set of programs or a system setting or a global setting that creates or renders your reality here. Okay? It's out of your existence. It's not your consciousness. There is a filter, again, of your consciousness. Again, another balloon or another ball within that, right? You have the consciousness setting, and then you have, say, your filter on how, I don't know, John Smith renders himself. So that's a consciousness of you that you create. Right? Most people, what happens is that it's like, yeah, I'm John Smith, but I want to be somebody else, and they change themselves at a physical level, you know, by, I don't know, dieting or getting another girlfriend, or, you know, I don't know, losing money, or, you know, becoming a hermit, or making $1 million, whatever. But John Smith still exists in John Smith's consciousness. And well, if John Smith lives in that same consciousness, the end result is what John Smith has defined. So you would have to define the consciousness that you would exist in. Okay? This gets really, really cool, and that's the whole philosophy of XI is like, well, fuck, let's just leave your problems here. We don't want this identity. And again, it really connects with Albert Einstein, where he was getting into it. This is just a clear, say, example of it, where he said that, you know, you can't solve a problem by creating, say, a solution at the same level of the problem, or basically the same level of consciousness. Okay? So what XI does for you is as we take a deep breath in, and then again, notice how you're feeling. You're probably feeling up to the chest, throat area. Some of you being suffocated. Right on. It's nothing new. It's just that you're becoming aware of the consciousness that you've been in, okay, and how it suffocates the hell out of you. Simple as that. And there's other people as well. Let's take a deep breath in. So again, a consciousness is basically a filter on how you would experience life in a certain reality. So, okay. So what XI does is it allows you to step up into a different layer of consciousness, where there's a consciousness up there that you don't have to sacrifice yourself to, you know, become abundant. Simple as that. There's a consciousness that you don't have to get ill. So the cool thing about that is that, excuse me. The really cool thing about that is that you don't have to solve the problem while you're here. And many of you who've gone through XI, do you see that you don't solve a problem? Okay, you end a problem, but you don't solve it. What happens is that you step into another consciousness that problem of the definition of you doesn't exist. And then that's how the problem, say, disappears, or again, it gets resolved and then it disappears. So either way. So take a deep breath in. So let me explain to you again. Say that you live in a house. Say that you live in a house and you the plumbing is bad, the electrical system is bad, it breaks down a lot, right? A lot of problems, whatever it might be. So what most people do is that they'll go, and most people won't fix the real problem, right? They won't, say, tear out the plumbing system and just start fresh. Okay. What you'll do is it's like just think how far back the plumbing system in your house would be if your first descendant built a house. Again, that's pretty far back. It's pretty antiquated systems, right? So what you do is like, shit, the plumbing's broken. I'm just going to fix this here, and then the plumbing somewhere else gets broken, or somewhere else gets broken. So that's the consciousness that you exist in. No matter what you do, it's still, again, creates broken plumbing or something that you have to fix. If it's not the plumbing, it's the wiring. If it's not the wiring, it's whatever, right? Tons of things that can go wrong in a house. So XI does it this way. It's like, fuck, this is antiquated, okay? Let's just create a new house here for you. Again, a new consciousness where it's a new house, it's a new identity, it's new wiring, it's the up-to-date wiring, and then you just move over. So XI is a transition from where you are to transitioning into a higher level consciousness where those problems don't exist. So if you step into a new house where, again, new plumbing, new wiring, you wouldn't have to fix the problems, right? It would just be resolved for you. Same way with love, relationships, higher consciousness, connecting to your Godhead, whatever religion you choose. Again, it doesn't really matter. They're all very similar, but this is you get into that level of consciousness, you go, oh shit, now I understand what Buddha or Jesus or Muhammad or whoever was talking about, because you would never understand it at this level. Okay, and that's where a lot of, say, truth become incongruencies for you. So hopefully that defines consciousness. I just want to take some time to really go into a deep dive meditation for you. Let's take a deep breath in. And again, just notice where you are. Notice your surroundings. And as I've been working on you, again, many of you feel very different. Some of you who are, say, controlling, are pushing away, and you're going, oh, this guy's bullshit or whatever. That's fine too. But again, notice you pushing away. Notice you not wanting to believe, but there's an attraction as well. So just again, notice that. It's that layer of consciousness that you're butting up against to break through. Okay, it's not what I said. Take a deep breath in again. Other people who are more aware, it's like, God, who are past, say, the control mechanisms, you're seeing like layers upon layers within you. That's like, shit, I'm getting this from my dad. This is from my aunt. This is from my uncle. This is from so-and-so. Again, they're all in the same consciousness, just different versions of it. So they're their consciousness, not yours, creating you. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to elevate you. And this is dependent on how high I can get you on, say, the level of consciousness that you could reach from where you are. So as you reach that level, then there's more opportunities. And with each consciousness, more clarity comes in, more abundance comes in, more, again, more of everything comes in. Youthfulness, vibrancy. That's how we change. Or that's how XI changes people. All other aspects, again, they change psychology, which is in the same consciousness, again, money, whatever it is, again, and you still have that problem. Take a deep breath in. Again, just notice how you're feeling. It's not the words I say, it's the frequencies that I create that I help you create, although you're bathed in the frequencies I generate. Breath in again. And I'm not changing your mind or your emotions or anything. I'm just helping you render yourself from a different filter or a different consciousness. Many of you might be looking down at the layers that you see yourself in. And that's good. You've elevated yourself and you're looking at your older layers. And then you get to understand why your life is the way it is. Yeah. Many of you are experiencing that already. It's like, oh shit. That's why it is what it is, right? And again, comment back afterwards. Breath in again. Notice how you're feeling. Does it help you rewire yourself to help you understand that, one, there's solutions outside of what you can't see. Two, many of you are feeling the higher, grander version or purpose of you. So really helping you embed that in you. Three, creating, say, the wherewithal to, or the mechanisms to get you to the higher layers, or that higher consciousness. And it's not just about you. But as more and more people awaken to go into that higher consciousness, very different than this reality, this human consciousness, which we've created. I call it high performance or pure performance consciousness. And in a deeper talk lecture series, we'll talk more about the logistics on consciousness, the detail, the science behind it. But again, in that consciousness, just imagine that there is no lack. Everybody's abundant. There's no control in the way we see it here. Control is, again, taking away something from somebody else to, whether it's control of, nowadays it's information. But resources, right? Or oppression. I'll give you one last analogy in helping you go into that higher consciousness. Imagine that you're in a neighborhood, first part of, say, Chicago, or the jungle. There's certain villages in the jungle you just don't want to go into. Doesn't matter. I want you to get away from society, bad, jungle and all that. Good. It's not. It's the consciousness. But in this village or city, you're always threatened. So you'd always have to make sure you keep your doors shut, your windows shut, barricade everything for you, because somebody else would steal it or take it away from you, or they would control, right? But what if you move to another city? This is what Elon Musk wants, right? We want to go to Mars, build another city. And first, you have to remove yourself out of the consciousness and then go to Mars. Otherwise, you're going to create the same damn thing in Mars. But what if you move to another city or another village that didn't operate that way? Everybody was trustworthy. Everybody had enough resources to be plenty. Everybody helped each other to become a better person. Not for their sake, but for the person's sake. So as we take a deep breath in, would you have to lock your doors? Would you have to barricade yourself? Would you feel threatened? Or would you feel enlivened? Like the way you are now? Notice how you're feeling, that brighter place, more strength, more enlivened. You still live in this physical reality. Nothing's changed. Your bank book hasn't changed, nothing. But here's the key. If you can exist and stay in this space, your environment that you create, you'll change. You'll have more money. You'll have whatever that you need, more abundance. Again, just like that city. And you won't be in fear. You change yourself, again, the consciousness that you exist in, your life starts to change. Your life starts to change. It reflects back upon your environment. See how that works? You change your consciousness, right? You exist in a higher level consciousness. You don't have to solve solutions at where you are. Okay, you just move to another consciousness with XI, it's fastest way. Your internal self, your identity changes. The light that you reflect back upon your environment changes. And this is where many of you have changed. Your loved ones change automatically, right? Your environment changes automatically. The people around you change automatically. That's where we really get into the new conscious evolution. It's called evolution. We ascend to the next level, to the next level. We haven't evolved as humans. So, as we take a deep breath in and as we end, join me for next week. And again, comment in on what topics that you want me to talk about. Talk about the deep science, the applicable science behind it, so you can better your life for real. As closing notes, abuse, no, not abuse, although we did abuse series, addiction series coming up for you. Addiction series coming up, that's coming up. Total Human Reset project, that's coming up, again, focused on, say, wealth, how to create massive wealth. Because the wealth that's here today, again, it's crumbling. That's the issues with the stock market and, the Robinhood brokerage and all that shit that's happening in Wall Street. The coronavirus and all that. The wealth systems it's all related. All that shit's blocking or tearing apart the infrastructure of this consciousness. And I talk about it in another lecture. I talk about, say, why this consciousness is changing, how it's changing, and how you can utilize it. Again, that's another, I've talked about that in another podcast, I believe. So take a look at that if you're interested on the real reason why we have the issues that we have today. So again, a lot of good things coming up. Subscribe to YouTube, and we'll get more free content like this on the logistics on why stuff happens. Also, 14 days, 14 ways to live your love life. That's coming up for Valentine's Day. Again, not like improve your life, but just leave it and then start fresh, right? For real deep seated relationships. So that's coming up. Take a look at that as well. And it's a very exciting new program that we've got. So again, guys, as we end, notice what you notice, and then notice the details of what you're noticing. Okay? And then the consciousness that you exist in. All right? Peace.